Hello everyone, welcome back to Marvel Mania. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And today we are bringing aboard Eric's brother, Evan. Hello, Evan.
My family was in town for the past 2 days.
And Evan really wanted to be on a video. So here he is, and he's going to watch a movie with us, and we're going to talk about it, which is what we do here on Marvel Mania. Today we are tackling Captain America, the first Avenger. This is, what are we on now? The fifth of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies.
Thor, Hulk.
Yeah.
Captain America.
So that's where we are at now. And any preamble, anything we need to say before we do this? Of course, I've done a commentary
For everyone
on this.
else in the world, we're watching the first Avenger.
That's right. Because some countries were a little bit concerned about having Captain America in front of the word America in their movie.
I've heard of that.
And I think some people have complained about that title and said that it's the same problem as BVS, Dawn of Justice, where it's like, why do we have to advertise the Avengers in that title? But I think story-wise it works.
And I also think that retroactively, all of the other Marvel films look weird for not having it. Because everyone else has subtitles. Well, I guess Doctor Strange, and they don't do subtitles for the first film. It's the only one that has a subtitle in the first film. So
that's true.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I guess that's the right. Is that it's not Thor something or the Mighty Thor or so I guess that's the problem with it. But it's not. But I don't think it's as weird as Dawn of Justice was.
No.
Not to play the Marvel versus DC game. I just.
Well, there's not a game to be played.
But I thought it was a little strange when people when people brought that up after that title dropped. But anyway, if you want to watch the movie with us, grab your DVD or Blu-ray, however you want to watch it. Make sure to get it past all the menus to timestamp 0 and get ready when I say now. Evan is going to press play for us. That's his one job, and he's going to do it. Evan, are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody, please press play right now. Here we go.
Oh, you left the thing there.
No, yeah, you left that thing. Can you move the thing?
Oh, yeah.
Just move the mouse slightly off so
thing.
the menu will go away.
There we go.
There you go.
And we got a clear screen now.
Not clear in that there's nothing there.
Clear from any access.
Because that'd be
So
bad.
like one of Tony Stark's phones.
Do we have any sound?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Okay, this I will have to fix. Hold on.
Wait.
Okay, Eric, say something insightful.
Something insightful. Oh, there's
We got volume now.
Yeah,
We're good.
Now.
That's good.
Yep, we're good. Loud and clear.
Without the screen, it's all foggy.
No.
You just
Like Foggy Nelson.
Meanwhile, back in the Arctic.
So, when I first saw this,
Yeah.
I missed the beginning of this movie, so I didn't have this opening scene.
Did you really?
Yep.
I feel like I know somebody else that had that.
Maybe it was me.
I said else. Someone else.
Yeah, I don't remember any of this. It's been a couple years since I've seen
No
it.
one remembers this part of the movie because it's not important, doesn't need to be here. And we get another opening scene.
I don't totally agree with that. It's almost a tradition thing with Captain America that this is how a Captain America thing opens. I was kind of glad that we did that, especially because it's not so jarring when we jump to the future at the end or to the present at the end. I like that it's bookended.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have been a surprise, though.
I think it still is. I mean, I'm sure there are people who don't know anything about Captain America or who just aren't thinking about it who also think that he's still in the 40s when he wakes up when he thinks that. Because you're not gonna be thinking about this through the whole movie. So when you get to the end, like, oh yeah, that's right. We did start in present day.
I kinda wish.
But I like it to link up to the rest of them.
Yeah.
And every other movie so far has. I mean, okay, this and Thor are the only things that have had anything out of the ordinary like that. But Thor also opens in,
And I don't like it in Thor either.
I don't like the way it does it.
Yeah.
But that's mostly because it's, too Earth-centric.
It's kind of like the beginning of played Trinity.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say The Thing.
But there's not a Power Rangers villain there. No, this is not how The Thing opens.
It also...
at all.
I don't remember how the movie opens. It reminds me a little bit of the Enterprise episode Regeneration.
Something else. Oh, Hellboy. Hellboy has.
They're in the Arctic too, and they find the Borg from First Contact.
Oh.
Careful, buddy.
Wait, Regeneration.
Yeah.
They find the Borg from First Contact. Oh, Enterprise.
In Enterprise,
Okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course.
Because it's a prequel that takes place in the past but doesn't realize it. Or it's a sequel that takes place in the past, but that would be redundant.
Yeah. It'd be real weird if it didn't realize it.
It's a sequel that takes place in the future. That's actually a lot like Regeneration.
So...
Oh, and actually I like that too because they mention... I forgot about that. They mentioned the Colonel. That's Fury.
Yeah.
There's a thing... This is me being a
Not bad.
comic book purist guy,
Yeah.
but there's a real famous panel from Avengers 4 where it's him in the ice with the shield, and I kind of wish that we saw him in the ice with the shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not in the ice. It's when the ice is broken, he's laying and the shield's on him, and
Yeah, the problem is we
wish
just
did
don't
that.
see that much of it.
Yeah, I wish we had that.
Yeah, that's true.
This is where I came into the theater.
Because a lot of the time, what you'll see in a Captain America origin thing is basically what we just saw, and then the thawing out part, and we just don't get that.
See, and it's weird because I feel like this is the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
but
this
it
should
is.
be-
That's what we call a prologue, Eric.
Yeah.
If
But
you
this
haven't
also
read any
feels
novels,
like a prologue.
You wouldn't be complaining about it if that's where the credits were.
This,
But this also feels prologue-y to me.
I don't think it's a problem.
We're trying. We just put our hands on it.
Have what I want done already.
I know you just touched it, but I expect you to move faster than that.
That guy's been in 1,000 things. Yeah, he's
I'm gonna
Filch.
meet you halfway.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
Filch.
that is who that is.
He's Filch. He's always played him like that.
My cat. I'm gonna meet you halfway now and say maybe that's better if that's where the credits were.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then it's a teaser, and then because again this still plays as an opening scene. I see why you're saying it's prologue-y, but we do this with a lot of comic things and with a lot of just action movies with big villains where you open with what the villain is doing because this is the impetus for the story.
Mm-hmm.
This is the break in status quo. The super soldier program can't happen if he's not doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
So that makes this the occasion for story, which is different from a prologue.
Well, the super soldier program can because he's a product of the super soldier program.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But I mean, like, isn't getting Steve Rogers like a direct result of things that Red Skull is doing?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. That's why I said that.
No,
Because yes, I know that, but I'm just talking about like getting Steve Rogers and getting that.
I don't think they know they have the Cosmic Cube until they get I don't think they make Captain America because of this. They make Captain America
because of the war.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought. I don't know why. I haven't watched this one. I thought it was like an upping the ante thing, but.
And this is cool that we do the whole Norse thing.
Yeah.
It's a little weird
Yeah.
because the Infinity Stones aren't Norse,
No.
and Cosmic Cube isn't Norse.
No, but that's okay because he tells us what that's about. That like because he says it was in
Odin's
trophy room. Yeah. So Odin found it somewhere. And I just loved that Odin is evoked in this opening scene
Yeah.
right after we just saw Thor. Because we didn't... It's just really nice to have that kind of connective tissue. And that doesn't seem, like, pushy about Avengers.
Do you think we'll explain why so many of the Infinity Gems are hiding as other things?
Yeah.
Some-
Sometimes larger gems.
I think it's also important to note that I don't think we knew when we saw this that the Cosmic Cube was also an Infinity Gem.
No, we did not.
No.
And that seemed like a choice we made later. And I always
Is
thought
that
that was
in
strange.
Avengers, or is that in Age of Ultron that we do that?
No, it's Avengers.
Okay.
I think.
No, it can't be because it's a big surprise when we get to Thanos. So it has to be later that we establish that that's an Infinity Stone.
I feel like we knew it there for some reason, but I can't remember why.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
That foreshadowing. Did you see that the blood got on the skull like a red?
Yeah.
Well, I think
skull?
maybe we were foreshadowing.
No.
What? I thought that was someone completely different.
And he keeps doing this thing with his face, which I've never been sure how I like or not, because it's really just there to like.
It's not like his jaw's broken or anything.
Well, no, it's like to foreshadow that he's gonna take his face off.
Right.
But like, is he resetting his face? Is that what it is? Like the mask is sitting
Yeah,
weird
he just
and
can't
he's-
keep it, or it's itchy. And this is still some of the best that this digital enhancement to make someone look different
yeah.
has looked. Seeing so much more of it now, I can more tell that's an effect, but it doesn't take me out. It still looks really good. But I remember when I saw this, not even thinking it looked like a visual effect. Once you see what they did with, young Tony in Civil War, I'm like, oh, I recognize this effect now when I see it.
They
Although, only in close-ups. When we're farther away from it, you cannot tell.
well, and a lot of it is because it's not a digitally created body. They're digitally putting his head on a smaller person's body.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It's not always
is a
like changes
different
from scene to
effect.
scene. It's a couple of different effects they use to create the effect.
I forgot about that. So they shot him and someone else at different times. That's complicated.
Yeah.
Is that how that was handled? I remember there being another
it's
body.
from scene to like sometimes it's that, sometimes it's fully digital, sometimes it's
Okay.
yeah. It's a combination of effects. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things on that list that the doctor looks at, I was looking at that list and what it says. One of them is just nervous trouble of any kind, which is not a full sentence.
Why does it need to be a full sentence?
I don't know, but I feel like the intent
I wasn't
of...
looking at that list.
I think
so
the
I don't know
intent
what
of...
the context of that was.
It's all the things that like are wrong with him and why he can't go into service. And one of them is just nervous trouble of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
That
Right.
doesn't fully communicate to me what that means. Like, if I'm the doctor looking at that, I'm like, well, what does that mean?
I think it's supposed to be things that would that prevent him from going into the program. So
Yeah.
if you're like it's probably like things that they always point at, and there are specific ways they always say that. So like
Okay.
so the Bucky thing is really weird because
He's
I
not
always
in this enough.
yeah, I mean he's here right away, which immediately would make you think at the beginning, especially if you don't know anything about Captain America, that he would be one of the major supporting characters and that he's like probably going to be his sidekick throughout the film. Even if you don't know Captain America, you would think that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people who saw this, the World's Fair thing is cool. I think a lot of people who didn't know Captain America and saw this forgot about him halfway through the movie.
Yeah. And definitely forgot about the time we got the Winter Soldier.
Yep. I can't tell you how many times I had to explain to people who that was.
Is this the World's Fair or is it this first Stark Expo?
That's what I meant, the expo, but it's
There's
obviously based
the
on
original
the World's
Human
Fair, yeah.
Torch. This is
Oh
the-
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But Stark Expo is what I meant to say,
Yeah. Because it's nice tying to Iron Man 2.
and it looks even more like the future carnival thing
Yeah.
in
Mass Phantasm.
Mask of the Phantasm.
I like that he's also kind of doing the Tony Stark thing from Iron Man 2.
That's right.
But,
Which is weird because that was only 2 movies ago.
mm, I'd say I'm still waiting.
Still haven't
And-
even reached that yet.
And yeah, I'm not a big fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I think it is really cool that Coulson has a flying car in that.
Yeah.
After this.
Yeah. Well, and that's always been like a Shield thing.
Mm-hmm. And of course, he's one of the founders of Shield.
And he's great in Agent Carter.
Yeah.
He's also great in Preacher, but the rest of that show's not.
He's in Preacher?
He is Preacher.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they use that like a superhero name. Everyone calls him Preacher, which is the most annoying thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he is in fact a Preacher, but in the comics, no one ever calls him that. He's just Jesse.
But also...
Everyone calls him Preacher.
But man, if I don't know of any denomination of Christianity where the person is... where the preacher is called preacher. They're called pastor or brother or... That's unusual. Like,
yep.
Do they say in that show what denomination he is?
I'm sure it's Catholic. And this has big issues with Catholicism. I'm pretty sure he was brought up in Catholicism, so...
Yeah, but that's not a preacher, that's a priest. I doubt it's Catholicism. That would be weird.
And maybe it's Baptist, because it's real Southern.
Yeah.
But... Yeah,
but, like, preacher, that's a Protestant thing. Anyway.
Yeah.
That has nothing
to
do
do
with
it. But no, it's a problem, because they keep calling Preacher.
That's weird.
Yeah, like, it's a superhero name. And he's great. He's...
I'm gonna guess, like, every now and again, in a service, someone will be, like, preacher, but, like to your face, you're, like, pastor or brother or something. Anyway, I just...
Yeah, no, it's a bad choice.
You said that.
It's
That's
a bad
weird.
choice.
Some of the screen doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Someone broke down that he and Yinsen are the exact same character, and, like, side by side, I'm like, oh yeah, they are the exact same character.
Yeah. I think I compared them in my rewind, but I didn't say they were the exact same character.
I mean, they're not the same character, but they fulfill the same role.
That's right, yeah. I've talked about this a lot when we look at this movie, but I really like the lens that we look at the past at through with the way we do the color filters and things. Where I always wonder if there's one that always wonders if this is exactly how it happens, or if this isn't supposed to be kind of sort of how he remembers it. And I don't mean that it's... I mean that we're looking at it through a nostalgic lens, not that we're leaving anything out, or that he's, like, too pure and good, or, anything like that.
But we shoot The Rocketeer, because it's the same director.
Sure.
He shoots The Rocketeer very similarly.
Yes, of course, but...
And he likes it similarly.
But this is in a universe where we're looking back at it.
Mm.
And so it's hard not to think that a little bit.
I feel like it would feel that way more if he was telling the story.
Yeah, but we are in his head through most of it, except for when we go to Red Skull.
I'm remembering this thing with Red Skull, and I think somebody painted him. I wasn't there for it, but I'm pretty sure somebody painted him, and he didn't like it.
I mean, you're right. It is just a stylistic choice, but you know me in POV. I always wonder about that kind of thing. And it is a very movie 1940s, and that's how you'd want to do this, because it's a comic book.
One of the things I really appreciated in this film, and now I feel like we kind of take for granted, but going into it, didn't know, it's not cynical. It's not down on this time period. It's not making fun of the values. It's real sincere, and I really appreciate that.
But I mean, a lot of things will go the other way. Even things we make now, where we really, I don't know, glorify the period, and we kind of leave out the, atrocities and things.
Mm. Well,
not from the Nazi side, but.
Well, and this is a more Indiana Jonesy view on the war. It's more Hollywood, but I didn't know if it was gonna be sincere at all. Like I remember having reservations about them doing Captain America because I just didn't see modern Hollywood being able to do that without being cynical about it.
Like they would overcompensate for an audience that doesn't want it to be overly patriotic and wouldn't take it seriously, or would think it was too Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And not because Disney owns Marvel now, but we do play this period as the idealized America a lot.
Well, it's the Greatest Generation kind of a thing.
Yeah.
We ignore all the bad things that happened that the Greatest Generation did because they're the Greatest Generation.
But at the same time, it to a lot of people, I'm sure.
that.
Yeah, that's great. Because he's supposed to be in a stomach.
Yeah.
And we never do that with him, and I don't care.
No, because
what we do by Winter
invention.
Soldier is yeah, exactly. It's as cool or better.
That's the way that you would have done Iron Zola in Ultimate if we ever got that.
That's a great point. I remember in my rewind, I had a whole read on him that I started to question once we got to Winter Soldier, but I can't remember every facet of that right at this very moment.
I don't know if it's a direct reference to it, but I noticed on Steve Rogers' form that he stamped it with 1A. I don't know if that's a reference to the first Avenger or not.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I just assumed it was a military term.
Yeah.
I assumed it wasn't low, but then I just looked at it.
But then that's kind of coincidental, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call. I bet that's exactly what that is.
Wow.
Fresh eyes are great.
I like all this stuff. It's a little weird that the world's not different. We have all this fantastical technology, and we bring, in the same way that we brought on Nazi scientists, and they helped build the space program, things like that. We bring on Hydra scientists, but it seems that they're only working for S.H.I.E.L.D., but like the rest of the world doesn't reflect the fact that we are building off of fantastical technology. When we get to Iron Man, it's 2008. It's today.
Yeah, but how much of it is done in secret? How much of it is... Because the thing is, there are a lot of... There's a lot of conspiracy theories and things going all the way back through the 20th century about the government having technology that
like alien
they
technology.
they never tell anybody
Well, I
about.
wonder if that's an intentional thing. Is that like, well, we did have alien technology. It wasn't Area 51. It was this.
Yeah, maybe so.
But it's
51,
weird that
but
S.H.I.E.L.D. has the technology it has, but like the military doesn't.
But that's just because you can't tell how secret it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I don't understand S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know if they work autonomously or not. If they're like a secret Black Ops underground kind of group that develops their own stuff, and like the government not only doesn't regulate them but doesn't even really know that much about them.
And I'm not sure.
It's like Section 31 in Star Trek. I could see it.
And I'm not sure if they're an American organization or a global organization. Like they seem to have global clearance, but I'm not sure.
But when you're talking about this technology with and there's Two-Face. When you're talking about the technology with Hydra, like once we get rid of the cosmic cube, we can't power it anymore. So a lot of that stuff you wouldn't be able to build. You're saying we're building on it. No, we're not. It's there for a minute, and then we don't have it anymore. And even if we did, like, yeah, I guess S.H.I.E.L.D. might have gotten their hands on some of it.
Well, and they at least get the scientists that built it.
Well, that's true.
And we know they get a lot of Hydra scientists in Winter Soldier.
Yeah. And they would have some advanced things. But you could argue that they helped to advance us to where we get to by 2008. Mm. And that we wouldn't have even gotten that far without the stuff that they brought to it and what S.H.I.E.L.D. has.
Mm.
You know, so like maybe...
That's where
maybe
we get
microwaves
get
come from some of that kind of thing. Maybe, certain weaponry...
I feel like you would get in trouble for that.
Yeah, that's actually... As far as I know, yeah, that's an offense.
He's always felt like stunt casting to me,
yep.
But we didn't sell the movie on him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if I knew he was in this when I watched it in the theater. I was a little
surprised that anybody would ever cast Tommy Lee Jones in a movie again after the way he talked about Batman Forever. Not that he had any problem doing that movie, but he just always talked about it like you're not supposed to take that kind of thing seriously at all because it's a comic book.
Did you know like, I know. Or did you just think he was in a military movie and see the rest of it?
That's my question. He's just. Does he look at these as different kinds of things? Does he care that it's based on a comic? Because this is, of course, a more serious movie than that, and his part of Batman Forever, even on paper, must look like a cartoon.
Well, and it's a different world that we're making this movie in. We've had a lot of really successful...
already more legitimized, and this is post-Dark Knight. And would have been being made just after Dark Knight was changing everything.
it's a Gordian knot kind of a thing.
Right away, it was 10 minutes into this movie, I was like, oh boy, was I wrong about him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we haven't talked about that, but yeah, I'd never seen him in a particularly serious role.
Yeah.
I thought of him as a comedic guy. I was like, I was like, okay, well, they're gonna make Captain America jokey, and then it's gonna be him and Tony Stark fighting for screen time, getting the best quip, and they didn't. And this movie being a World War II movie was also not a given.
Yeah.
I remember, I think after Iron Man, like I had like a thing where I was like, oh, they'll never do this, but they should just set entirely in World War II.
Yeah, and it really feels like the team making this is maybe more confident about this material than we were with Thor.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as hard of a sell as Thor is necessarily, to be fair to that material. And this immediately demonstrates that we understand who this character is.
Mm-hmm.
I also really like that right after the capture the flag thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because that kind of sort of makes him look like, maybe he's just a cheater. I mean, we're already, getting a sense of how altruistic and compassionate he is, but that gives you the sense that it's supposed to just be an attitude of he takes everything literally and he'll just do whatever the job is supposed to be, and that tells you that there's more to it than that.
I don't know what that fully would have proved if he'd hidden like everyone else. Like, doesn't it also just prove that the rest of the people, that like they're all not fit for the job? Like, the people that he preferred also ran away. Like, if he'd done that and Steve had also hidden, he'd just be like, oh, I guess none of these people really should be fit for this. Because he's just making a point about Steve.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just nitpicking.
It never occurred to me what exactly the motivation for throwing the grenade was.
Well, it's because they're having a conversation about, like,
who's the most loyal.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, if 5 of them had dove after the grenade, you don't have a movie.
Yep.
They can't have 5 Captain Americas.
And that could have happened. Well, but you certainly wouldn't pick this guy.
No. But I think that's what makes him singled out.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're lucky that there was nobody else
brave enough.
Pure heart like that. But we're also saying something about his being scrawny and picked on, and that has a lot to do with how he developed that worldview. I don't know if I totally buy into the argument that you would have to have that background in order to think to jump on the grenade, but that's where it comes from.
I think this is kind of interesting, that what makes him fanatical, or what separates him from the regular Nazis, what splinters Hydra, is not that he's too crazy. It's not that he's even crazier than the Nazis. It's that he believes in things that no one else thinks are real.
Right.
It's that he's crazy, or I mean, theoretically, he's actually right.
Yeah.
Norse gods do exist, but I think that's an interesting way to take that.
That would give him a superior ambition.
Mm-hmm.
But that also comes from Hitler's belief in the supernatural.
Yeah, which they said, like, he uses his fantasies to motivate his men. Schmidt believes it, is pursuing them.
See, I always got the sense, and I haven't done enough research, I always got the sense that Hitler actually did believe some of that stuff.
No, he did. There's the whole Fool Occult Society, where, like, he had this special, like, team that did that. And
that it wasn't just that he's motivating his men that way. But so, like it's hard not to look at this as just, well, Schmidt found something.
Mm-hmm.
And if Hitler had found something, it would have been about the same thing.
Well, Hitler had the Spear of Destiny at some point.
That was right,
That's
sure.
the whole thing.
But he didn't find something that he could make, like, big, crazy alien weapons out of. The Spear of Destiny!
Man, have the spear of destiny.
It sounds like something from Power Rangers.
No, it's from Constantine.
Uh,
Was there anything about that in the Hellboy movies?
Yes.
Not the Spear of Destiny, but the whole...
They talk about the Thule Cult Society. Because that's where... Because that's where Cronin comes from. It's also kind of where Rasputin's working with them. It's where I first hear about the Thule Cult Society and all that.
So we talk... A lot of people talk all the time about Marvel's big weak point being their villains. I don't think it's fair to put him in that list.
Red Skull?
Yeah.
I think how he goes out makes it feel more like that.
It makes him feel more superfluous than he ought to be.
And I think part of it with Red Skull is also that he never came back.
Yeah, and we could have done some really interesting things with him moving forward, because I don't think he is the most interesting thing, but I think he has a lot of presence.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another villain where who's real theatrical and over the top. I love how we conceal the face here.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so theatrical and over the top that he's yet another villain that makes me go, oh, why can't we get Doctor Doom right?
Yeah.
Sometimes this kind of teasing can be annoying. I bet I said this exactly in the other commentary I did. But in the theater, I was really impressed with this. That we've got the... Is this a scene where the guy's painting him?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy's painting him.
yeah.
And you expect the camera to swivel around and show you the painting, and it never does. And I love that. I love this music cue a lot.
Yeah. It starts out kind of mellow, and then it just climaxes so quickly.
Not exactly the kind of things you want to bring up when you're trying to talk to a girl.
I used to eat their
That should
really
be in your
good
book
noodles.
about geeky dating.
Oh, yeah.
Don't point out the places you were beat up.
That's more like a fourth or fifth date kind of thing.
I wouldn't even go that
No,
far. I'd say
no.
that's like seventh date.
That
That's when you start bringing up like personal pain. But not in that way.
Yeah, he's definitely not read that book I never wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a mental book. Still in the works.
It is really weird going back and seeing her in this. And just remembering how much of a non-entity I thought she was in the first place. I've got to give Marvel props for going forward with her and making her a really distinct
I remember
character.
when they kept saying, like, there's going to be an H-Card TV series. I'm like, no, there's not. Like,
what would you do with that?
Yeah.
And
then they made it work.
And it's great.
It tied in perfectly with Civil War after she, spoilers, died.
Is this gonna burn down and there's gonna be a bunch of foot soldiers? And no.
I don't remember.
Second time around.
And Bucky will get thrown through the window and he'll be in a bathtub for a while.
Yeah, and then April will find out that she got fired.
And we're not sure if he's in a bathtub because that's the thing you're supposed to do with somebody that's in a coma, or if because he's a turtle. Because I've never been clear on that.
Is there supposed to be a pun there where she's getting fired while there's fire? Is that...
This sounds like...
No, that's totally a pun. That's definitely
that in there?
That sounds like Batman and Robin
and then...
puns.
Yes,
Iceman.
No, because then Casey says, "You're telling me."
Oh, that's right. Sometimes it's fun to do a commentary for some other movie in the middle of the commentary that you're doing.
Movie. Why not just have a commentary of a commentary?
We've done that.
Oh, jeez.
We did it for Spawn.
Oh.
That was a lot of fun. I really want to do it again on another movie. I would do it somewhat differently.
We turned the volume down a bit.
Yeah, I do think it was smart to have it there.
Yeah, it was too loud.
Yeah. I forgot about the proximity of the shotgun mic. That's gonna be my...
what else we would do with
that'll be my album title, Eric. The proximity of the shotgun mic.
Let's go on. You could have a song on that that says that's oh nope. I mixed up the line. I was gonna say proximity alert. You can open with Jim Carrey, but it's not proximity alert. It's intruder alert.
Intruder alert! Shut up! Somebody get that kid a sandwich.
Well, he's about to have a very, very
So,
big sandwich.
When he lies down, I want him to do Defoe and be like, it's cold.
Yeah.
So we built this whole thing with this whole staff
On rock and roll.
and they're all going to be flipping buttons and switches and all of this, but only that guy knows how to do this process.
Only me!
No one else is allowed to have this knowledge.
Does anybody else know how to work this equipment? Only you. Agent Carter? That's my favorite TV show.
It's Marvel's best. I mean, they only made 2, but
Yeah. It's better than all the spin-offs they ever made.
yeah.
You gotta flick it first.
I think Tommy Lee Jones is fine. And there's about 150 other actors that could have played that role.
He's doing the Tommy Lee Jones thing. Like he's the gruff. Like this is a role he's done before and he'll do again. And
He's kind of sarcastic, and I feel like he's done it. Has he done it in military things before?
yeah,
It works for that, certainly. But that's like as speaking of the actors, that's not a performance I hear people like talk about. You know, like Tommy Lee Jones in Captain America.
I kind of forgot he was in this until he showed up.
But yeah, I remember thinking that was stunt casting when I saw it too, and I don't think I knew it going in.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think I went,
which makes it not stunt casting, but
and that's kind of nice. I mean, and again, they've got a real tradition of major recognizable actors. I mean, we're gonna get to a point where a lot of big, just big actors have been in these movies.
Mm-hmm.
You never really think about it, but that would be really painful and odd to feel. You have like 8 and 12 needles being injected in you and fluids being pumped in on both arms.
Is it green?
And then whatever's going to happen
it's blue.
here, it's blue.
It's oh wow.
Yeah, it's like
That's
a
unusual.
dark blue.
It's almost
Because
always
good.
green.
It's because it's good.
Ah, yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced
Now
that,
he's going in
that
for a tan.
what's happening is the serum's working, but it's really gross to watch. So we put all these lights and stuff so like nobody can see it, and like they think something's happened. That machine's it's not doing anything. The serum's doing it. It's real gross to watch. Because like bones are like getting bigger and popping, and you don't want to see that.
That'd be awesome. What are you talking about? I'm surprised he didn't get blinded by this.
That should have been a Play-Doh kit.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised we didn't have that action figure.
It's impressive they were able to make something that looks like this and not fall into the same trap Man of Steel did.
What do you mean?
It just looks like an egg.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm not going to say it, but it just looks like an egg.
Yeah.
And it's also a white capsule, huh? It's like you had to try to mess up a design like that.
It's a steering wheel.
Vita Ray percent. I always check the Vita Ray percent when I buy like vitamins and stuff. I want to know how much Vita Rays are in my cereal too. I want a lot of Vita Rays in my cereal.
I want to be like
There's a
Captain
lot
America.
of oranges. There's a lot of Vita Rays and oranges. The Vita Ray percent is off the chart.
Lesser when they're chocolate oranges.
His Vita Rays are over 9,000.
Yeah, because that's just flavored like Vita Rays, you know.
It's artificial Vita Rays.
This
It's like midichlorians.
this is an obvious thing to say, but this is a transformation that you could not have done even 10 years before this,
Or you couldn't have done well.
and make it look as great as it does here.
No,
Because that really is a moment.
it would have been more like the the '90s one where like we would have just put him in like baggy clothes, have him hunch. We might have done a little bit of the Lord of the Rings, like we shoot him smaller.
Well, it could still be a moment like when you finally see him. It's like, oh wow, Chris Evans really did work out that much for this role.
Mm-hmm.
And he stayed that rip for a while.
Yeah, I wonder if I want to know what his diet is like when he's working on Captain America, and if it's anything like what Hugh Jackman has to do. I wonder how many chickens a day
he's not
eating.
as veiny as Hugh Jackman, which means he's eating more.
Yeah, and it's not the same kind of. It's not the same kind of beefy.
He doesn't get that weird neck
But he's
thing.
super toned, yeah. Yeah, and that's because Wolverine's supposed to look like an animal, and he's supposed to look like a specimen of humanity. That's the obvious word to use after Winter Soldier, but yeah. I love that. And you're right, he's Yinsen, but man, I love it. And he should be Yinsen.
Mm. And
with all the comparing and contrasting we do of those two characters, and with how important the heart motif is, yes, of course he's Yinsen, and that's not a problem.
Mm. Do you think they ever had that moment where like, hey, I had a foreign guy with glasses that liked to drink too. He helped me grow as a person.
The only difference is,
he also died.
Steve Rogers is trying to change the way he changes, and he's changing physically, not mentally. The whole point is you have to keep your heart, and...
Yeah, it's an interesting character arc because there isn't one in the traditional sense. He gets what he wanted. He doesn't grow. He's already there. He just gets the ability to be as good as he always was.
Yeah, but as I always say, it's not like the story ends here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As I always say, stories are about a character who has an opportunity for change. They don't have to change. The question is, why they don't, and what they learn about themselves and what we learn about them. So, it's never easy for them. It remains difficult.
It's like Smallville, right?
Right, sure.
He has many opportunities for change, and he just doesn't take them. And that's okay, too.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a problem there. It's intentional
in this?
Here, yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is a matter of being steadfast through all obstacles, as opposed to...
Monarch Theater! Hey, look at that!
As opposed to what like a really tragic protagonist will often do in not changing, in saying, I know that what I'm doing is awful, and I've decided I don't care.
Mm.
Sometimes making some of these kinds of foreshadowing things work is all about attitude. This kind of thing can come off like, really obvious cutesy stuff, and it's organically integrated in such a way where, yeah, it's, haha, he's picked up a thing that has a star on it, but it seems like it doesn't seem forced in. It's a real natural thing.
Well,
and I just like the progression of the shield, kind of, until we actually get to the real one.
One that already had a star.
Exactly.
It wasn't like he just picked up a door out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, it's got a star. Get it?
Yeah, that's why that works.
I like that moment.
And the trash can lid in the alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting beaten up in an alley where there would be a trash can with a lid.
This reminds me of the one from Batman Forever.
Batman Returns.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Batman Returns.
Yeah, because I was just about to make the same reference. Yeah, it's the bullet. Or the...
Skid?
The
Skiff?
missile. What's that?
The skid? The skiff?
I don't know what you're saying.
The
right now.
one in the sewers
Right.
they uses. Isn't it like the skid
No.
or the skiff or something?
It's just the bat boat.
It's not a boat. It's sewer based. I thought it had a name like that. I don't know.
I'm not sure. But yeah, it's based in the same design of the fuselage for the car.
Does Batman have a bat bobsled? Is he prepared for that occasion?
Well, I'm not sure.
That was one of my friends I went and saw this with. That was their one thing. If Hydra's in this movie, they have to say Hydra, cut off one head, and 3 will take its place.
2 will take its place.
He's like, if they don't say that, this is not Hydra.
Of course. Yeah.
And he said it.
But if you don't do that, it's potentially really generic. Like, it's just a name. That's the point of it.
Yes.
Yeah, actually a little
It's
little
supposed
bit.
to be intimidating.
This was also, it's starting to become a pattern at this point that we do not name our villains.
Yeah.
You will have everything under the sun merchandised with the villain's name, but we will never name them what they're named. He will never be called Red Skull except as an insult. It's not a title or name. It's not a moniker.
See, I don't have a problem with that, except that he doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if he came back, he would be likely to adopt it and take it on.
Whiplash was the same way.
I think that's but even with Whiplash, I really think if you can't work it in naturally, it's okay. I don't really.
There
have
was a
problem
Whiplash burger.
There was?
Yeah, it was a Burger King.
It's
a thing that in
But you're saying
isolation,
in
each
the
time I'm
piece,
like, what kind of makes sense here? That kind of makes sense here. But we're never, and that was one of the things I was excited about with Iron Man 3 that eventually ended up not being there, was like the Mandarin's calling himself the Mandarin.
Yeah.
But I think it's so much more of a problem when it's shoehorned in a really obnoxious, unnatural way.
Well, the Abomination's not called the Abomination. We just had that one line of like, he could be the
Abomination.
Abomination.
Yeah.
It at this point in Marvel's history, I'm starting to notice, like while I'm watching the movies, I'm like, oh, we're never calling the villains what they're
I
called.
just don't know how much of a problem that really is. I feel like if we had more material, because I always like to say these are like, episodes of a TV show you get 2 or 3 times a year now. And of course now we have actual TV shows, but they're not dealing with a lot of this stuff.
Do we get 2 or 3 times a year?
Yeah, exactly. But more of it. I feel like if we had the opportunity to call back to and talk about this stuff retroactively, that's when we would get those names. That they should come from history. I just think that makes so much more sense.
It's also
think about it like when you have like a name for a serial killer that like people didn't know what their real name was, or they did, but like what they did became so infamous they felt the need to call them something like that. That often comes later, and it's not like they're the ones saying it about themselves.
Marvel seems to like to name characters.
I just feel like history would remember him as the Red Skull, and it does. There are places where he's retroactive to as the Red Skull.
Well, Marvel seems to like to name characters in the gutters between films. War Machine is never named War Machine.
Yeah.
He just shows up in one movie
and
is called War Machine. But he's not called that in Iron Man 2. I mean, other than that dumb line.
Yeah, and I really don't like that.
Yeah.
But
I think that's really what my issue is we don't name them, but we throw the name in a cutesy way.
Yeah, and I don't like.
We're not going to call them that, but here's what.
Sometimes it's not cutesy, but I don't know.
Well, you haven't been able to beat them, so. I mean, so far, they're not wrong. Also,
the way the Red Skull name is dropped in this, I think, is actually better than you're playing.
It's not. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying
it sounds like you're complaining that he doesn't call himself that. I don't have a problem with that.
I don't like that everyone calls him Schmidt. I don't have a problem with him not calling himself Red Skull. I don't like that everyone calls him Schmidt. But it's not like a huge problem. It's just while these movies are coming out, that's what I'm starting to notice.
just because you get your face changed, people would call you something else. Like, usually, like, I get that it's a heightened comic book thing, but it's more realistic than 60s comics. It's like, usually you get a nickname like that, it comes outside of you, right? And usually it comes because people don't know what to call you. They don't know what you're actually... So if everybody knows his name is Schmidt, why would they call him Red Skull?
I kind of don't like that everybody knows his name is Schmidt. I mean, I
the
guess...
people he's working with are the only people that call him that. Well, I mean, I guess the Americans do too, but... I
guess this is like the comic thing, but like... He's supposed to be a symbol. I mean, I guess he's supposed to be a symbol for the Nazis. We're not doing the Nazis in this, but... Yeah. Red Skull is supposed to be a rallying symbol. Kind of like Captain America. And he's
right, yeah, that's
not.
True. Yeah, okay, and that's a real fair argument, sure.
I love all this.
Yeah.
I know it's obvious, but like I really love all this. And real... I mean, it's obvious to love it. Not this was the obvious way to go. This is not the obvious way to go. And it's the classic original Kirby costume with the shield.
And this is one of the big things that makes it difficult for him to uphold his principles, because he gets disillusioned with the very system that he wants to fight for. Because he's just being turned into a spokesperson, a cartoon, a propaganda machine.
There's a subtle thing that I think happens over the course of this, where we see him get better at this, and he gets good at this speech, and then he gets tired of this speech.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, he kind of starts to like it, and then he starts to not. Like, because a montage.
Yeah, and I really like that. Yeah, and I love some character progression in a montage, but I love that Hitler.
Yeah.
And we'll do the famous comic cover.
Yeah.
And I love that punch is nowhere near him.
Yeah.
Well, because he'd break his face if he made contact. He's not even a normal guy.
Yeah, but think about it. We're making a movie, and we're remembering that it's a stage thing where we're pretending to throw a punch.
Yeah.
Because the people making this movie are going to do real punches.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it's just a nice attention to detail. I also love that he stars in his own cereal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which looks way more action-packed than the actual cereal.
Yeah, see, that should have looked crappier, yeah.
In which he runs into a room, yells, "I know what you're doing!" and then punches or shoots someone. Which is the best thing out of context.
But yeah, I like that he's maybe even starting to enjoy this kind of pseudo-admiration that he's getting for all this.
It's when he performs in front of real soldiers.
And then suddenly remembers, oh yeah, this isn't what I'm here for. And it's not just, oh, I don't want to be a joke, this is bad for my image. It's, I'm not accomplishing what I came here to accomplish.
He's got the star on his back. Is that normal?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I
feel like it's not, but I don't know. Or maybe it's... I mean, we certainly don't do that in later films, but I don't feel like he has that in the comics. Maybe he does in earlier... Maybe he did in the original Kirby stuff. I love that he's got the pirate boots. That's a design aesthetic that, like, so many characters in comics have. They have those flipped pirate boots. I love that he's got those.
I think they did that in the 90s. Didn't they?
I think he just got regular boots. I'm not sure.
I can't remember. And it's funny because, we did a commentary on that too, and we haven't brought that up or compared this to that at all yet.
Well, we're still in the first 10 minutes of that movie.
That's true. That's a good point.
This is a thing.
Okay,
Steve Rogers is an artist.
This movie characterizes him as like more like the comics, and he's actually Captain America. And that other movie didn't so much, and his
big move was faking that his stomach hurt.
That's right.
So he could steal your car.
Okay, so that's all we need to say. We're good.
But Steve Rogers is an artist in the comics. That's a thing.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
I didn't even know
It seems to be that, like, thoughtful man kind of a thing. Like, he's not like a great artist, and it's not like he puts pieces up, but like he sketches. That is a thing that is from the comics.
And it's what he does when he is being contemplative.
It's his profession in the TV movies, I think.
Oh, really?
I think he's an artist in those.
That's interesting. But yeah, I kind of like the idea that that's what he's doing when he's thinking things through. Especially because if you don't know that that's a character trait of his from the comics, it just looks like we're homaging the medium it came from, which is always appreciated.
It's interesting how much Brubaker's in this and how little Brubaker's in this. Because like whenever Brubaker flashes back to the war, it's war. But there is a lot of Brubaker stuff in this. It's real interesting that, I don't know, it's clearly influenced by what Brubaker does, but it's not doing what he does. Like one of the big things in his run was Bucky's. He tried to explain Bucky being a kid because Bucky's like 16, and he's like, well, he's small and he can get into places easier, and he kills people. Like he's like a 16-year-old assassin. We went a very different direction with Bucky in this, but
well, and part of the reason that I said earlier that I feel like we're maybe looking at this through a more you know, I'm trying to think of a good way to put it, like a more, you know, pleasant perspective from a person that misses these days. We talk about this war as a much darker, violent thing in Winter Soldier, and as much less black and white as it plays here, or than it plays here. That moment in Winter Soldier when he says, we did some things, we made compromises, but we did it because we thought we had to. That really got me in the theater because none of that is in this movie.
It's true.
And that has to happen, obviously, during this movie because he's going to go on ice.
Yeah, well, and there's a thing in this movie that I gave them a pass on.
So there is somewhat of an idealized way that we're looking at this.
There's a thing that I gave them a pass on, but we're 2 movies past this now. When we just montage over the war,
yeah,
and it's like, and they're like, well, we just wanted to leave room to go back and tell other stories if we wanted to, and we've never done that.
Not really.
We've never gone back and shown scenes that happen in between those scenes.
No, and I expected Agent Carter to maybe do some of that, and if memory serves, and one of the best episodes of that show is the Howling Commandos episode, but it's we bring them back together to go on a mission, and it's all after this. I don't think we really do a lot of flashbacks with them during the war, and of course, if we did, we couldn't include Steve Rogers in them. It would have been nice if they could have gotten him to come back for a flashback Howling Commandos episode, but that's asking a lot.
You know what's weird? I think she's like a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Not in this movie. She isn't in like other things. She isn't Agent Carter. In this movie,
she's an absolute knockout in Agent Carter.
Yeah, yeah.
But part of it, of course, is we get her in situations where she has to wear, you know, a dress and stuff.
That's true. But like in this, I'm like, oh, she's kind of pretty, but she's not what I think of when I think of this actress. I didn't remember that. I don't know. That's a weird.
Yeah, but I also think that that's somewhat of a testament to this movie, because
she's not a sex symbol. She's not there for eye candy.
Not at all. Yeah.
She's a character. I like this moment of insecurity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and later on,
yeah.
See that fondue thing?
Fondue.
I feel like that's a joke I had heard in 2 or 3 other things before this movie, and I can never place what it was.
Well, I've always heard the like fondue thing. We're like it's fondue. It should be called fondue.
But yeah, like the fondue. Do you fondue? I've heard that before. You know where I've heard that before? But when I heard it there, I thought I had heard it somewhere else before, and I can't remember. But the Tick does it.
Does the Tick do it?
Yeah. Batman Well does it.
Oh.
You remember that?
Yeah. Maybe they're Tick fans. It makes a little bit more sense in this context because fondue's like an exotic thing. It's not a thing everybody... It's like he doesn't actually know what it is. Like, I think that's how it plays. There's an arc reactor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
We cannot get away from that image.
Yeah.
Like, we have a couple things that look like arc reactors throughout these movies. We'll get one in Avengers, too. That big thing that they house the Cosmic Cube in.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, is never called the Cosmic Cube. It's the Tesseract.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I go back and forth. Sometimes I just call it's like at this point I do it with the Infinity Gems and the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
I noticed myself say Infinity Stones once, and I was like, oh, it's getting to me. Not stones.
Well,
they're
I mean,
gems.
I will also call this the Cosmic Cube, because that's what it is.
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with their not calling it that necessarily.
Although it's not nearly as powerful as the Cosmic Cube. It's actually not the Cosmic Cube, it's just a cube that has power.
Yeah.
The Cosmic Cube is like a galactic level thing. Like, you can change reality with it.
Yeah.
This is a power source.
Although I think there are multiple Cosmic Cubes in the comics.
And the Beyonder is a sentient Cosmic Cube.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
thing
okay.
that we explain at some point, is that the Beyonder is a sentient Cosmic Cube.
Yeah, and like a Cosmic Cube, I think would be more powerful than any singular Infinity Gem.
Depends on which one.
Well, yeah, okay. But it does more, right? Or is it basically just a souped-up reality gem?
I don't know. I've never been real clear on what it does, but it also needs recharge.
I have to go back and look. Are you sure that they're never called stones in the comics? Because I feel like they go back and forth and they're interchangeable. Because you've always brought this up where you're like, they call them stones, I don't like that. I thought they did that in the comics.
I don't think they do. At least Starlin doesn't.
I thought Infinity Gauntlet did even, but I have to go back and look at it.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they're always gems. And we made a video game called War of the Gems.
No, I know that, but that's
No.
also an interchangeable word you can use for gems.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm pretty
gemstones. It is it's a gemstone.
I'm pretty sure it's always gems. Like, at least in the Starlin stuff, I think it's always gems because it starts the Soul Gem and then.
This is a real dumb thing to argue about. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's one of those things where we've been hearing them called that for so long that I feel like I called them that before this, but I couldn't have if they didn't call them that. So anyway,
And it seems like just a strange. We're like, well, gems sounds kind of dumb. What about stones? Stones sounds less dumb.
but at least to their credit, it is the same thing.
Yeah.
Being a stone doesn't make it not a gem.
Just combine the two.
All gems are stones, but not all stones are gems.
That's right. That's right.
All gems are stones, but not all stones are gems.
And when everyone is a gem, no
one
one
is
is
a stone.
Gem. Or a stone. What? I don't know what we're talking about now. Subterfuge.
I like the one of the first images we got was him in this outfit, which is not exactly the ultimate costume. But
Oh,
it's
yeah, but it's
real
similar, isn't
close. Yeah.
I'm from Connecticut!
I know that's a joke.
From Fresno.
It does not make sense historically. Just listening to like things George Takei said,
Yeah?
that doesn't make sense historically.
Why?
He's Asian.
Right?
We rounded them all up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
They
had
put
we
them in
done it...
concentration camps. After they bombed Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that there were no Asians in the war on our side. Those are numbers we'd have to look up.
I always got the impression that we did it for like everyone.
Yeah, but you
At
might
least
have
that's
had-
how-
Yeah, I mean, you might have had some guys that were already overseas that they weren't gonna send back.
Well, no, because we get into the war with Pearl Harbor.
No, I know that, but I guess not overseas. But I'm just saying, like, guys that are already in the service. And I'm not sure if even all the guys in the service we took out
I don't know.
and put there. But yeah.
But it always felt like a thing where I'm like, I know you're trying to do what you're trying to do, but I don't think that happened at the time. But I might be wrong. He's right off the page. Dugan looks great, and we should do more with him.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that actor in other things since this, but I'm not
I
sure.
agree. Like, I'm looking at his face, I'm like, that looks like a real familiar
something
face.
Recently I've seen him in. I feel an arch nemesis coming on.
I feel like this is the last time I'm going to wear this face for some reason.
So we're just gonna release a bunch of rockets.
So, is Red
Destroy
Skull's
the evidence.
face like the super soldier serum? Like, only that guy knew how to make it, so like once he loses
Only
it
me!
here, he can't get another one.
Yeah. Or maybe they just figure they would make it worse. Because, you know, their serum obviously went kind of wrong.
Well, I think he explains it as like it amplifies what's inside of you. So it's not that it went wrong, that's what he
Is that in this?
I think he said that.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right. Yeah. I am almost more impressed with the makeup job when he has the mask over the Red Skull. Like obviously the Red Skull makeup looks really good. But man, those cheekbones and stuff, where we're trying to make it look like we put a mask on over something else. It seems like we saw something recently where I know what it was. It was Jerome's Joker face.
Yeah.
That he puts back on. So we're just
Yeah.
like, that doesn't look like you took skin and put it back on your face.
This does.
This does.
Yep.
This looks like a mask, and whenever he moves it around, like it looks really good.
So this is a weird thing that we set up that we don't really pay off. That this is the moment where he is programmed to be Winter Soldier.
yeah.
He's repeating serial numbers, which is how you fight.
Oh.
Yeah, which is how you fight brainwashing. Is you repeat like serial number, like things like that. You repeat things to keep your mind focused.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be the moment, I think, where he becomes Winter Soldier. But I feel like when we get to Winter Soldier, we don't actually use this moment to be.
Well,
that
no,
moment.
we don't, because he's picked up in the snow.
Yeah, it's post snow. Yeah.
No, that doesn't even make
Unless
sense.
this is early programming, but that's what that's
Are you
supposed
sure
to be in
that's
this
what that's
movie.
supposed to be? But how did?
They're trying to
is
brainwash
brain-
him.
So
This
they're
is where he's-
brainwashing him, and to be fair, it is the same people.
It's
but
Hydra.
But it's not just Hydra. It's Zola.
Mm,
Zola's there,
yeah.
and Zola's the one that does it to him.
Yeah.
Is it possible? They don't say this though. I was gonna say, if you're right, they could have started a brainwashing process and picked him for some reason, and then the reason they pick him later for Winter Soldier is because they're just continuing his conditioning. But I don't think that actually works.
Yeah. But no, that's clearly what that's supposed to be when they're making this movie.
I am a great fan of your films.
I was I was impressed with them for having him bring the Golden Age shield into this. That
Yeah.
he's got that before he has the real one. And I think he just likes what the shield symbolizes, and that's why he carries one.
I guess I should mention we were talking about that he becomes like the serum enhances what you are.
Yeah. Yeah, and I talked about that in the rewind, I think.
That's
Now that you bring that up.
I don't know if that's not exactly comic book. It doesn't start that way. Like that's a thing in the '90s film. He does not have the super soldier serum in the comics for a long time.
Really?
I think maybe when he gets it at some point, it's because he's in a clone of Steve Rogers' body, because that's a thing that happens. There's a great
I
moment.
remember reading that somewhere.
There's a great moment in the early Brubaker issues where somebody says something like, where they're like, "Oh yeah, he's in a clone of your body. I forgot." And Steve's like, "I've never forgotten that." I liked the Red Skull makeup. I wish there was more of a brow.
Mm.
He's got a real protruding brow in the comics.
It's the same thing as the thing in the Tim
Yep.
Story movies.
Yep.
He could have more of that.
Kirby likes his brows.
Yeah, the issue I kind of have with the idea of it enhancing whatever you are already is that's a little bit at odds with keeping Steve Rogers as, a real human being that has all the same struggles we do, but he's just physically enhanced. It almost implies that should make his altruism easier.
Well, I think it's...
In a way.
I think it makes what's inside outside. I don't think it actually alters your personality. This is a real silly, cool...
Yeah, I thought the idea with Red Skull was that it was supposed to actually kind of make him crazier and more evil. But maybe that's because
I think he
didn't
became
work
crazier
out
and more
well.
evil because he got what he wanted.
Yeah.
And he wanted more.
Mm-hmm. And he just kept craving more power.
And if this exists, surely all of these other things exist. Which, again, not wrong. These other things do exist.
Yeah, and so then you're just... You yourself are elaborating on and enhancing what was already in you because of choices you're making.
Mm-hmm.
He is in more of this than I remember. Bucky. But he's not a presence is the problem.
Well, and the problem is after this, we're going to montage, and then he's going to die.
Yeah. And he's not going to feel present in those montages.
Not any more than any of the other Howling Commandos.
Exactly. But like they feel like an entity. None of them stand out.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way they should, but it's as simple as Bucky needs more talking scenes.
Mm-hmm. We need a scene after this where they sit down.
Yeah. So that at least he can tell us, yeah, I think they were starting to brainwash me or something.
I'm pretty sure I resisted them.
I was rambling some numbers or something.
I said Homecoming. Everyone freaked out.
Yeah. I thought Spider-Man was going to get a movie. That's ridiculous. Sony owns him. How's that ever going to happen?
This division of army. There's nothing special about this unit. It's just a military unit.
It's just a military unit, except for they have a physically enhanced man on their squadron.
But he's not on their squad.
But
Not yet.
he's not.
This is just a military unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they talking about? Shut down the division.
That's a good point.
They stole a tank.
And a ginormous truck.
I guess Bucky's right next to him here, but...
Yeah. Now, I would say that there's probably people that after Winter Soldier would go back and look at this and be like, oh yeah, he is in this movie.
Yeah. or they wouldn't, because he's got short hair. Like, he kind of doesn't look like himself in the other films. Like, he doesn't... I don't know.
But I'm just saying, if you pick up on, oh, he had this friend named Bucky, and that's who this Winter Soldier guy is, who the heck is that?
But am I wrong? Like,
but I hate to say this because I think he's a really good actor, but I feel like until he grows his hair out, there's nothing distinctive about his look.
Well, maybe
he just doesn't stick with
Maybe
me.
that's why I feel like he doesn't look like himself in this movie.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like himself that he does in the next two films.
Yeah.
Like, he looks real different to me, but maybe it's just because he's not as distinctive without long hair.
You got me really curious about that Asian soldiers thing now.
We'll have to look it up. Okay. So, the movie's over. We're going to hit the credits. We're just going to...
Yep,
it's shorter than I remember.
Yeah.
This feels like the end of a movie, doesn't it? I've always thought... And then we're going to cut to black. I've always thought this feels like the
It's a really good pilot for a Captain America TV show.
So I guess we don't cut to black, but... It really
Yeah,
feels
I don't
like the end.
I don't think it feels like the end of the movie, but I can kind of see what you're saying then.
I love that.
It feels like the end of an act. You know, certainly. I mean, there's a finality for a section.
I kind of don't think Captain America would do that. He wouldn't show up for the president to honor him because he's making plans.
Yeah.
I feel like he would show up for the president.
Just for the president.
Yeah, I honestly never noticed that.
Like, it's not like he's on a mission. Like, they're making plans.
Yeah.
Tony Stark at least showed up. That wasn't even for the president. That was for a side that was mean to him.
Yeah, but maybe the idea is he doesn't want the admiration.
The fame, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not why I'm doing this. But I don't know. I feel like he would show up for the president.
But maybe only behind closed doors.
That might be.
Well, and here's a question. Was one of the Howling Commandos in the comics an Asian guy? Because I don't know those characters besides Dugan.
I think they're all just white guys. I might be wrong, but I think
Are they?
I think so. Like, that guy's British. I don't think there's a British guy in the Howling Commandos either.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know them well. I've never read that Nick Fury stuff. I've got some of his S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, but, like, I could care less about Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos.
This guy playing Dugan is driving me crazy. Because
He's
I know I've seen him in
perfect.
something. And
I feel
and I know he's bad. He's a bad guy. And he's not going to be on screen enough for me to figure it out. And yes, I could look it up, but I want to figure it out.
I was gonna say...
IMDb takes all the fun and mystique out of it.
I was gonna say he was that one guy from Walking Dead, but I don't think it is him.
And neither
I
is
watched that
Walking
show.
Dead, so...
That's not what
No.
it is. That's not whatever I'm thinking. Oh, what is it?
You seen Star Trek?
I don't think it's a Trek thing.
I feel like you can do 6 degrees of Star Trek. Like, you can connect anyone to Star Trek.
Oh yeah, that's easy. Especially once you go through 24. And she's got the red.
Yeah, this is like the iconic moment when they really do show the Agent Carter.
It's not the red dress that she wears in the show, though.
She wears like a red hat, doesn't she?
She's got that hat.
Well, she's got the red hat, yeah.
Yeah. All I can think of from that one poster that they have is where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah, and in fact, there were a lot of Agent Carter cosplayers a couple years ago, and there were 2 or 3 at Planet Comic-Con out here in Kansas City, and I was doing a lot of selfies with people in costume, and there was there's one that looked great who I was talking to for a bit, and she was like, and I said, I love your Carter costume, and she's like, well, I'm glad you can tell who I am because everyone thinks I'm Carmen Sandiego.
Okay, now, and they must have been thinking Carmen Sandiego.
When they did the hat.
No, because the outfit's blue. I feel like you would make the outfit red and match the hat, but you won't because of Carmen Sandiego.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, she wears...
Yeah, no, those people are dumb. She's wearing blue. Carmen Sandiego's all in red.
Yeah.
Fools. Of course, nobody watched Agent Carter, unfortunately.
I know what that is.
I can't believe it got 2 seasons.
We didn't think it would get renewed after the first one.
Yeah, and it didn't necessarily
because it's good,
need
so...
to. But no, more of it was even though they established stuff at the end that they could continue building on, it feels like a miniseries. It's just like a lot of the Netflix shows. It doesn't need any more. And I don't think that second season is nearly as good.
And I still haven't seen it. At some point,
people thought it went a little silly.
I know it's got a bunch of stuff with the Red Room, but that's all I know about it, really.
Yeah.
And it's got Cal Vertigo's daughter, but not Cal Vertigo, which is disappointing. I like this moment. I like him not knowing how to deal with a woman being attracted to him.
But of course, I don't like how Carter reacts to things.
No, it's real soap opera love triangle.
First drama, yeah.
I mean, love triangle's a stretch.
She needs to give him a chance to explain himself.
She also should be more open if she's interested, but...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because it's not like they've started a relationship or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like she's better than them.
But you see that in some people, especially like people that are like fatter, who lose the weight and get buff. They don't know how to deal with, oh, now I'm kind of attractive, and people are talking.
No, that you're right. That's great.
And I like that. I like that moment because it feels real.
I've never thought of this before, but maybe I'm a little too hard on her because, like obviously, what she's attracted to about him is that he's a better person than all the other men she knows.
And now
if she sees
like
any inkling that he might not be the the model of decency that he's been, putting like, oh, he's just like all the others.
He was just like that because he couldn't get
then maybe
women,
you can see that knee-jerk reaction to a degree. I kind of like to see. I kind of like to see her apologize for it when she finds out that he's not like that at all. But
for us, that could not have been vibranium. She would have just shot Captain America.
Well,
that's
right.
It's
gonna work.
But she knew it would work. Yeah.
So vibranium in all those shields? Is that going to be Captain America 4, The Quest for the Shields?
The Quest for the Shield.
Okay, this is the thing I don't like, and I think we fixed.
We shut down Wakanda, and that's all the vibranium that's left in the world. Sorry.
This is the thing I don't like, and I think we stopped doing after this movie. This, like, wear and tear on the shield.
Yeah.
To make it more realistic. I don't like it. It should just... It's a shield. It shouldn't wear off. Like, I know it's supposed to be paint. Like, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like it. And I don't like that it's the first time we see it, it's already got wear and tear on it.
I don't agree with you at all, but...
Okay. I don't like it scuffing and stuff. Like, it's Captain America's shield. It doesn't do that.
I like that early on it does. I like that they can't paint over it properly. It's the 40s. They don't have the kind of paints we have. Like... It's hard to decide in a thing like this, Eric, where to draw the line in praising realism and not wanting it to be too realistic.
Mm-hmm. This suit is...
And so I see why you're saying that, but I also feel like my line must be in a somewhat different place than yours, because I want to praise it for getting the difference between, like...
Well, it depends. It depends on
the vibranium is indestructible, but there's paint. It's like it's and even in not ultra realistic Superman things, the cape gets ripped up all the time.
Mm-hmm. But that doesn't bother me as much. I don't know. I guess it really depends on if
I don't feel like we scuff it up as much later on. I feel like they get like
if we immediately in Avengers it doesn't do that, then it's probably what you're saying it is. But I remember in theaters being like, oh, it's scuffed. And, like, I felt like that was just, unnecessarily realistic. He just blew up a bunch of people.
Oh, my God, I think I know what it is. With, with Dugan.
What is it?
And you're not even going to believe this. He's Damien Dark.
Is he?
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's who that is.
I didn't get that.
Because I just knew that facial expression. He's Damien Dark.
You're right.
And he
bad guy.
and he wasn't. I knew there was a sinister face, and he wasn't just the villain through last season of Arrow. He's also been one of the main villains in this season of Legends. Yeah, I'm positive that's who that is. Isn't that the weirdest thing ever?
Yeah. I guarantee you. Like 60 people watching this video were like,
yeah,
they were
of course.
screaming their
They
heads
knew that
off.
already.
yeah, no, and they was like, it's Damien Dark, Cap, just figure it out.
I wasn't gonna look it up because it was a lot more satisfying to have that moment. I know we're on the internet
had
right
that
now,
the
but I
other
don't want
day.
to overly rely on the internet all the time.
We had that, was it yesterday, where we both made a joke and we were like, where's that from? Where's that from?
And I feel like we do that all the time.
It was Ninja Turtles. It was at what point did we lose control?
If you hadn't, I would never would have gotten that. I would never would have come up with that one. And that is the second time we referenced that movie.
It's a good movie.
Let's
I've
just
watched it in a while.
and
Let's
we've
watch
done
that.
that.
Find
It
the
is.
gap.
It's Damien Dark.
Captain America better watch out. Okay, so
There's
Oh,
definitely-
and that's weird too, because like he's in the 40s here, and Legends is a time travel show, and he's been in a lot of different time periods. Now, anyway,
this
CG is not great.
this costume,
It's okay.
I want to say I've never liked, but that's not exactly true. This is maybe one of the only times I've ever had this where, when I saw the picture of the costume, I was like, well, that looks phenomenal. And then in action, I don't love this costume. I don't know why. I think it might be the shoulder. Like, it's kind of boxy. There's something about it I don't.
Yeah, it
I
almost-
get that it's the proto costume. Like, it's supposed to not look perfect.
It almost looks like you bought like a Halloween costume.
It doesn't
No,
look like that at all.
no, it's much better than that.
But I really like this costume, like in pictures, and then like something about the way it moves. I don't love.
I gotta say, I've got, and I don't mean to just be contrary, but like, I like everything about the aesthetic of this of this movie, the costumes and stuff. I've never had any issue with any of that stuff.
I think it's the stomach. It folds, and there's something about that I don't like the lines
Okay.
that fold. I don't know. There's something about this costume. Although I'm not specifically having an issue with it now, but I remember when I first saw this movie.
It's
I was
also
like,
a
I don't
uniform
love this
before it's a
costume.
costume.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just, and I didn't have a problem with it. Like usually it's you see something like I don't know about that. I'll see how it looks in motion. I had like the flip of it.
I just
so
feel
was
like
oh, I
this
really
is
like
the
that costume.
smartest explanation you possibly could have had for how he ends up in that costume.
Yeah.
And in having a functioning looking one, and in going both to classic, Marvel 616 stuff and Ultimate as well.
Well, and we clearly don't know how to do his costume. We're gonna keep tinkering with it until we finally figure it out. Because we don't keep the Avengers one, and then in Winter Soldier he's got that kind of stealthy costume.
That's not a matter of not knowing how to do it. It's a matter of giving him different costumes for different occasions. When you get into Winter Soldier, there's a reason he's got a darker, sleeker a costume that does not represent what Captain America represents exactly with S.H.I.E.L.D., that he's got a spy costume, and that he puts on the other costume when we get to the end of that movie.
But then it changes in Age of Ultron. It's not the Avengers costume. It's like a different costume. Like I feel like we keep tweaking it. I think we finally got there because I don't think it changes from Age of Ultron to Civil War. But
I don't know that the tweaking is really a bad thing, but
I don't either. I just feel like we didn't.
But I don't think we're tweaking it
We
as
were ever
much
satisfied.
as you're making it out to sound. I think it is just as often like a different suit for a different occasion. Like, haven't we only tweaked it once?
Well, Avengers to Age of Ultron, like that's a.
But that's the one tweak versus different costumes.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't really remember all that much about what was different about the Civil War costume, but
I don't remember either, but
or the Age of Ultron.
I don't remember either. But I know it's a different costume and it looks better.
Okay. I will say this. This scene maybe does require Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, this interrogation thing, I actually am really glad we've got Tommy Lee Jones at this moment.
Kind of plays it like MIB.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Chinese restaurant.
He
Yeah.
does. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And I just recently watched the movie, so I completely understand that scene.
This was in my peanuts.
I told him, there's my popcorn.
I guess popcorn's not peanuts, isn't it? This one's in my popcorn.
Forgot about that.
I love that part.
That's a joke I did not know the setup for
Is
the
that-
longest time.
Is that chocolate milk? What is that? What is he drinking?
It's just regular milk.
No, it's brown.
That is
Or is it
regular
regular milk?
milk.
Maybe it is regular milk.
That is white.
Yeah, it's milk.
It's the way this scene is shot, and he mentioned,
And the subtitles are kind of covering it up.
yeah. Wow, we even talk about that in dialogue, and I did not remember that, and it's easy to forget. I can
It just
see
feels
why,
like there was no impression left.
but can't you
Going
see
back to it,
going into Winter Soldier, being so close to this material, that you might think that we did more with that character or that we made him more memorable than we did.
Because I know a lot of people that saw Winter Soldier and did not remember Bucky.
Yeah, it's
like it's not
definitely-
like we're just saying like we feel like that. Like I know
It's definitely a problem. I'm not sure what more you could have done exactly.
his
with the
death
movie
is
they made.
real. I've got major issues with his death, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But his death is real non-spectacular. Like it's also like an unmemorable death. He falls out of a train, and
Yeah.
okay, obviously in the comics, Bucky and Cap are on a big rocket going up, and Bucky falls off into the ocean.
Yeah.
We end this movie with a scene like that. Bucky should be there until the climax and fall off before Steve.
Yeah, I don't like, and I think part of the, I guess one of the main reasons we don't remember him into Winter Soldier is because we lose him. I always think of it as halfway through the movie. It's later than that. We're probably already past halfway. I mean, well past halfway. But boy, it feels like we lose him halfway in
Yeah,
this
he
movie.
needs to be in the climax of the film.
This green screen is real rough.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I can see like the little outline from him.
It's not the outline. It's just
It doesn't look
It
like
just
he's
doesn't
there.
look like it's there. Yeah. Yeah, when I say it's bad green screen, I don't mean we chromed it wrong. I mean that the visual effect does not look realistic enough with putting a person in front of it. If you can't make your animation look real enough, you at the very least can't put a real person's head right in the middle of it. And you can't know that when you're shooting it.
Yeah, you have no way of
The
knowing.
effects aren't gonna match up as well. But if you did, you would have just shot him in front of a flag or something.
Well, and that's always a thing.
You know, just put something practical behind him that in the CG is supposed to just be like draped over one of those planes or something.
That's always a thing in movies when like sometimes like an effect will be like really bad and like there's a reaction of like, why would you do this? And it's like they don't know when they're making it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the CGI people are like, yeah, it's gonna look great. Trust us. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. They don't know when they're making the movie. I remember James Cameron talks about when he was making Terminator 2, because we've changed how we do like digitally removing things.
Yeah.
Like harnesses and stuff. Like now we want to make it as inconspicuous as possible. And so you don't have to work as hard to hide it. But back in the day, the thought process was make it as bright as possible so it's easy to find and remove.
Well, what are we talking about? We have already lost Bucky.
Did we?
Yeah.
Did he fall out of that train?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he's already
They
fallen
were-
out.
what do you
He
think, this is
fell
the
out of that
second train?
15 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot. That's how unmemorable Bucky's death is.
he's busy feeling bad about the fact that Bucky
Yeah.
fell out of that train.
Somehow we talked about such a bad death.
Yeah.
He should be at the climax. He should fall up. Or
I don't mind that he falls out of a train like that, and that's the way that you get him to Russia. That's fine. My issue with it is when it happens.
Well, and the Russia thing doesn't matter because he's not Russian. He has no reason to be called the Winter Soldier. That's a problem with Winter Soldier. Because he's Hydra. He's not Russian.
Well, that's true.
Like he doesn't. That name Winter Soldier doesn't actually make sense in the context of the Marvel Universe, but whatever, or the cinematic universe, but whatever. I give him that. But if you're gonna get rid of him that fast, or if you're gonna get rid of him where we get rid of him,
I mean,
he can't be kidnapped. He has to be with Steve through the whole movie.
The Winter Soldier thing is layered, and I won't go into it because we're not watching Winter Soldier. But I have a whole thing about that in the rewind, and I actually think it does work really well. But
we'll talk about it when we get there then.
yeah.
I don't know if I've seen your Winter Soldier. I feel like I saw your Winter Soldier rewind.
I'll have to refresh myself on it because it's been a while.
No, you don't get to go back to your rewind and think what you think or hear what you think.
Well, it was a matter of research though.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. Yeah, it's not just my reading that.
Okay.
There is a little bit of that, but
There's the Wilhelm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which
And
works
in
fine
a
in this-
forest
in this-
that looks a little bit like
the speeder bike chase.
yeah.
It does.
But it's okay in a movie like this. So I don't know when it is and isn't appropriate for Wilhelm screams, but I know it when I feel it. Sometimes it's okay,
And why
and
is
sometimes
that
it's
there?
not.
Yeah. Or like this movie is too serious for that.
Yeah. Although at this point I'm ready to just say like just the Lucas stuff. Like Indiana Jones, Star Wars, you get that. Everybody else needs to stop doing that. Not saying that's the case, but sometimes I feel that way. Sometimes when I'm alone and I'm thinking, I think maybe just Star Wars and Indiana Jones should have the Wilhelm scream. Maybe everyone else should move on.
It does kind of make sense with the stormtroopers, at least.
I remember this was one of the first shots. Not this. That's when they do the fire around them. That's one of the first things I saw from this movie.
Yeah.
This I think was like a picture or something that we saw.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh, they're black. They're not green. They're black because it's a movie. We gotta be serious and real. But it's not a serious and real movie, so I don't know why they're not green.
Eric cares about that kind of stuff a lot more than I do.
I care about aesthetics.
Well, it's not just that you care about aesthetics. You care about
Accuracy to the source
and
material
that's not important to
look.
me. It's not.
It depends
It's
on-
often not important to me. As far as just superficially what things look like.
Mhm.
When we change things to be really generic because we're just not thinking and not being creative, that's irritating. Missed opportunities are bad. But I don't care that the Hydra soldiers are wearing black.
But it could have been green, and it wouldn't have been any different. If it was forest green, you wouldn't think twice about it. That's why it bothers me.
Yeah.
They changed
why it
it
doesn't
and
bother
they
me
didn't have
is
a reason to.
I'm not thinking twice about it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I just...
But you
I
wouldn't think twice
have
about it if
even-
it was green.
But
Which means that they changed it for no reason.
But I didn't notice they changed it. Because I don't care. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I noticed it in the early pictures. Like I was like, oh, they're black because we can't have colors in movies.
I
Meanwhile, we've got red and green or red and blue.
I don't think of that as an iconic thing, though. Like, okay, now that you mention it, yeah, I guess they're green in the comics. I never noticed that. It doesn't...
If Lady Hydra ever shows up, it's gonna be weird because she wears a green dress and she's got green hair.
And some of that, I guess, is just a matter of, like, material that you've looked at that I haven't. Because I haven't seen... Maybe I haven't read enough stuff with Hydra soldiers in it, I don't know. I mean, if we did... Okay, if we did AIM and we didn't have the beekeeper suits, that would be weird.
We did, and it was weird.
Where did we do it?
Iron Man 3.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And there's a point where they should
Okay.
be there, and we'll talk about it. There's
okay.
a point where they should be wearing beekeeper suits, and it bothers me that they're
So, I
not.
mean, I guess I do have this some. So it's just a matter of, like, things I know about and things I don't know about. I don't know.
One day, you gotta read the Stranko Captain America. It's 3 issues.
But then their
it's
AIM
great.
isn't, like, exactly the same thing either, is it? Like...
They're not a terrorist organization. They're more underground than that.
But I just feel like the beekeeper suit thing is more of like a distinct, memorable thing. I don't want to go as far as to say iconic, but everybody knows that, okay, AIM.
Yeah.
Like, people that know what that is.
But it's also a thing we make fun of all the time, like even in comics.
That's true.
But there is a scene.
I'm not sure we could have expected it. But
I'll talk about when we get to
So-
Iron Man 3, and I'm sure it's in the
I'll
first
retract
commentary.
that,
but
but-
there is a scene where they should have those suits on.
Too much, Shadow One.
Yeah, I like that line. Although, as gruesome as this might sound, I kind of wish he'd shot him in the head.
Yeah. That would have been great.
Did we talk
Evan
over?
likes violence.
Did we talk over? Well, he's 16,
What's that?
15.
15. I was trying to remember how old Evan was.
Don't remember. Don't
He
quote his age.
is 15. That's the perfect age for Todd McFarlane. But
I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
but do we talk over it? Did I miss the pureeing someone in a helicopter?
No, that's later.
Okay.
Doesn't that happen when he's in the jet?
I don't remember. I just know it happens because in the theater, I don't like to react to movies often, or I don't react to movies often, or audibly. I had an audible like, holy crap, but not holy crap. I'm saying that because I'm on the channel.
Were you surprised that they let it go that far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what? And then we do it in Winter Soldier, and then we don't do it in Civil War because Civil War is not a Captain America movie. It's a tradition of Captain America movies, therefore Civil War, not a Captain America movie.
I'm not sure he had opportunity in Civil War to do that sort of a thing, but...
Well, I don't think he does it in Winter Soldier, but it happens to someone in Winter Soldier.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I think I had the same reaction to
It's
Winter
supposed to be
Soldier.
a tradition. We're supposed to take people out with helicopter propellers.
Just once per movie in a
It's
Captain
like the
America
tradition
movie.
in Star Wars. One person has to lose their hand in each film.
We really needed to build a set here,
Yeah.
or shoot this on location. Like I realized that this is huge, and it wouldn't have been practical to build it all. But all of a sudden, it looks like Sin City, and that is not working.
And Marvel's not.
And he's not even in a cockpit there. This I don't know. This all looks real rough.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Marvel's not where they are now. If they did this now, they wouldn't do it this way. They would have the money to not do it this way. But I think they think they're getting away with it because it's the time period and it's stylized.
Yeah, it's just, and I
But
complain
you're
about
right.
this in
It
the
does.
reline,
It
too.
looks like Sin City and that other one, Sky Captain World Tomorrow.
Sky Captain, yeah. If the whole movie looked like that, maybe.
Yeah, it was
that
a
would be
stylistic
really
choice.
strange.
It would be strange.
But no, I'm with you. I think we're using that as an excuse, maybe, or at least it feels like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that green screen stuff at the beginning at the expo.
Mm-hmm.
It looks worse than an action scene.
Yeah.
It looks worse when we're like
It's weird.
driving through inside.
We've watched through four of these other films, and we're like, oh, this all holds up really well. This is the one that special effects.
Thor had some rough stuff.
You're
too.
right. You're right.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about that this whole time. And
but
if you
it felt
think about
more
it,
excusable in Thor because it's Asgard,
yeah, like Iron Man and Iron Man 2, just
set largely in the real
you would
world.
be doing
and-
more practical stuff in the first place. Incredible Hulk is the same way to a degree, although boy, that roof stuff with Abomination looks so good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love this. I love putting the names of
Yeah,
the cities you drop.
That's so over the top. That's super comic book.
Yeah.
If you wanted to know where they were gonna bomb, here's some information that
But-
you might want to know.
When you got the buttons, do you remember which one is which? Like, what if you drop New York on Chicago? Like, that's just egg on your face.
It's a really good point you're making. Like,
No, they just put the initials on each button.
That might be it. The buttons might say New York, Chicago.
yeah, I think the reason it's written that way is just so the pilots know where they're supposed to go. That's the sense I get from it. Because I mean, they're obviously not automated. We're not doing this by computer.
No,
we couldn't do
they're
that.
bombs. You're going to drop them.
I thought they. Yeah, okay. I don't know why I thought they were.
Oh no, you're right. There's a
Aren't
cockpit.
Yeah, I thought they had cockpits.
Oh, okay.
So basically, they're kamikaze bombers.
They just look like.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're kamikaze.
Okay, you're right.
And they have to fly them there. Yeah, because see, they have propellers
Okay,
in the front.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Front
My
and
joke
back.
doesn't make sense, but it did make sense when I thought they were bombs that you were going to drop on.
Yeah, and see now he's flying. And actually,
This is where
This
Bucky
is
should
where-
die.
Yeah, this is where Bucky would die.
But this is where the propeller thing that you're talking about happens, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's how Bucky should die.
And it's
Hooray.
It's
on.
not how Bucky should die.
No. Well, because that
He
wouldn't
wouldn't
make
get
any
him back.
sense. Yeah.
That could be how he loses his arm.
he
like-
just gets his arm
We
stuck in
took
there.
all this mushy remains of a human being, and we put it in a blender,
And we
then
gave it a robot arm.
and then we
Okay, but
But then
if
we
they're,
put it in an easy bake oven, and then we took that out, and we gave it a robot arm.
if they're fighting there and Bucky's arm gets pureed and then he falls off,
That would be
that's a
amazing.
way more memorable death.
yeah, because I don't like the whole like having to cut his arm off and like It seemed real contrived how he got his robot arm on there, but we'll talk about that later on. But I just think it's really funny that we had an argument about whether or not they were just missiles, and then the fact that it's an airplane is how you got the scene you're talking about.
But yeah, that's the moment where Bucky should die. It'd be way more memorable. It's part of the climax.
And he could fall off that plane.
It echoes the comics, how he dies. I keep saying dies. We all know he's not dead, but
how we lose
in this
him.
movie, it's supposed to play like a death.
Of course.
It works better if it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes him more memorable when you're going to bring him back in the next movie. Although I don't know if we're making this, if we know the next movie is when we're bringing him back.
Well, no, that's part of the problem, is we're not... This is not enough of a setup movie for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just becomes more... It's a problem retroactively. It's not really so much of a problem with this as a piece. And I always talk about how difficult it is talking about these as singular entities versus chapters of a greater whole. But that's a place where we just could not possibly have had enough forethought. What are you gonna do? We built this set!
Well, and I know that we don't know we're doing Winter Soldier next because the writers talked about how they were trying real hard.
I like the design of this plane, by the way.
Yeah, it's cool.
Interesting.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of
Independence
that...
Day?
Sure. I see why you're saying that. No, it reminds me of the flying wing in the world's finest Batman Superman movie.
Oh, yeah.
That he draws the smiley face on? Sorry.
But the writers talked about, after this movie, that they were trying to convince Marvel to let them do a sequel with MODOK, and they wanted Peter Dinklage to play MODOK.
Oh, that would have been great. I'm really glad that we got Winter Soldier. But
Peter Dinklage is MODOK?
I love MODOK, and Dinklage is the best possible choice! Oh! I've wanted MODOK since the beginning. Because people keep complaining that we don't have memorable Marvel villains, and you can't do a boring, generic... Like, you're not going to do MODOK and make it like Malekith. That's not going to happen. Now, can we all agree that the Cosmic Cube does look really cool?
It looks really cool. I mean, this is all nonsense.
I feel like that was a shot we had early on, him holding the cube, maybe.
No, I think it's the one when he picks it up and he's still got a face.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to hide that face. Did they show the face at all in the trailer?
I think it is in the trailer.
Oh. I almost wish it wasn't, given how we seclude it and, build up anticipation for it.
You know what might be an interesting thing to do for a video? Go back and watch some trailers. Like, you never think about trailers after...
That's an interesting idea.
And we forget
talk about the trailer after you've seen the movie, and...
Well, and there's scenes that like when you first see a movie, sometimes you'll see this in reviews that are like immediately after the movie comes out.
Of course.
Where like you talk about, well, this scene wasn't in the
Didn't
movie,
make it in there.
but you never think about that years later.
Sure.
How often do you go back to the trailers? We should do that. It's good.
I know there's at least one trailer that...
I'm not sure how we do that exactly. I mean, because obviously they would be too short to do as commentaries. Like,
Yeah.
It would be really weird to do a trailer review.
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly... But anyway, what were you saying?
I know there was a trailer recently where they had at least one or two scenes that they had in a couple of the trailers that weren't even in the movie entirely.
That's what we're talking about.
Right.
There's one
in
one in Avengers where
there's a bunch in Rogue One.
There's a bunch of people
that's
running.
The one.
There's a bunch of people running around and there's explosions. And then when you see it in the movie,
Why?
There's aliens flying around.
Why do you gotta put her in the water? I'm sorry.
In Avengers, there's in the trailer, there's a shot where it's just people running and things exploding. And when you see that scene in the movie, there are aliens flying and shooting and making things explode.
It's not just explosions by themselves.
Because the CGI was funny. I don't understand this part. This is one of the reasons. Like this is one of those things where like it's an ending it doesn't kill this movie, but it
it
makes me remember it worse.
Exactly.
It's like Red Skull just
drags it
disappears
down in
into the
memory.
cosmos for no reason. The cosmos for no reason.
No,
and then he
He does disappear into the cosmosis. Yes.
We're calling it that from now on.
Yeah, we learned how to do that by cosmosis. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
But like,
and then this just seems entirely unnecessary.
it brings like the entire movie down, where it's just like, oh, and then Red Skull just disappears, and then he brings the ship down.
And suddenly there's no logic to what
It
he's
needs
doing.
to be
but we're acting like this is
broken.
really necessary. Just go land it somewhere else. I don't understand.
Yeah, it needs to be broken. Like one of the wings needs to be broken off. Like something like that.
Yeah.
It should be spinning.
It's not like it's going to explode wherever he drops it.
That's not how bombs work.
If
Also,
it was that,
they're
I would-
planes, not bombs.
As we've discovered.
Step on my what? My hair? My nose?
You know,
My hand.
that was a real problem when my wife and I were learning to dance for our wedding.
Kept stepping on her
She
body
kept
parts.
stepping on her hair, man. Just constantly. And I told her maybe
I'm
don't
so sorry.
maybe don't grow it all the way to your feet before the wedding. But
We don't
she
need you to
just-
look like Rapunzel.
And you're stepping on your hair a lot, and you're not complaining about that.
Yeah, no, she had this amazing sixth sense where she never stepped on it, and she didn't like tie it back or anything. I was always stepping on it.
It's
Man.
like Rapunzel.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, it was like I had 3 left feet, Eric. It was. This would be a lot more sad and tragic if it felt like he could have just done something different.
Why does he get out now?
Yeah, I always said that too.
Now.
And I mean, yes, it would be kind of hard to get back and stuff, but I feel
Captain America,
I think in my rewind I gave like 2 or 3 or 4 different ideas about other things he could have done.
It's weird that like 5 minutes at the end of this drags this whole movie down for me. When I think about this movie, like when I remember this movie, I'm like I feel like the entire third act is bad. It's not. It's the bad Bucky death, and that's just that little bit where it's like, well, this doesn't make sense. You did not end your movie.
Yeah.
You had no idea how to end your movie.
And you know where
you knew where it had to go.
Yeah, and then it becomes a prequel kind of problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's really prequel-y.
It's a little like the First Class thing, except it makes less sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was just like a truncated and like contrived problem. This is a person who suddenly has lost all sense of reason and logic.
But it's supposed to be sad.
Okay, I know I've done this recently with another movie, but I swear to God the Jurassic Park theme was there for 5 seconds.
She doesn't know it. She's gonna be real sad. But her niece is gonna be able to get with him.
No. Yeah.
Nah.
That's right. I love that that's trash can lid.
Yeah. It's a nice throwback to the beginning of the movie.
It's what we call setup and payoff.
Now the movie's over? Now I can go?
No, this is what we call an epilogue.
Oh.
Meanwhile, back in the present.
Well, we don't know it's the present yet. Spoilers.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen this movie by now, you need to catch up.
And you shouldn't be watching this right
Meanwhile.
now. Also, I think it would have been nice if we saw him at a baseball game and it was this baseball game. Doesn't have time for the president, but
He's got time to catch a game.
That's a great point. You know when you're right, you're right.
I just think this is a really flawed movie. It's real fun, but
Yeah.
there's a reason I don't go back to this movie a lot. There's
Me
good stuff
too.
in it, but it's just...
Yeah, because... And I have a hard time not just going, hey, let's watch Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And also, the Avengers plays as a decent sequel to this that is also better than this.
Yeah.
With at least the Captain America stuff. I like how unnerving this is. I feel like we're really in his head and that something is just right. Of course, we know that he can't be
Mhm.
in the 40s, but
But we don't know why he knows.
yeah,
He knows something off, but we don't know why he knows.
yeah, and the way it's shot, it feels wrong.
It's amazing he's able to convey that without tilting the camera.
Well, he does a little bit. We got a good 3-4 second Dutch angle.
Oh, do we?
To establish the room? Yeah. Yeah, but it was appropriate, you know. Why you have a laser pointer?
Why'd you laser point?
She laser pointed at the ground.
Just how long? Oh, there's a reason that's code 13.
Agent 13.
But yeah, I do really like ending this movie like this.
Yeah.
This Stranger in a Strange Land thing.
Yeah.
Getting it right in the, sort of kind of the moment that we were in. And I love that this is not an after credit scene.
Yeah.
Because it is, right? Like, this is one of those after credit scenes that actually
Belongs
is
in the movie and
belonged there. And that Winter Soldier has that problem where you have a scene that should have
Civil
been
War
the
does
ending
too.
of your movie. Thor?
The Civil War.
Oh, Civil War.
The when we go to Wakanda. That
Yeah.
should have been the ending of that movie.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And then the ending credit scene for this is just a scene in Avengers, which is fine.
Is it a scene or is it a trailer? I thought it was a trailer.
No, it's a scene and then it's a trailer. It's like the rest of it is a trailer, but it starts with the punching bag,
One of the
and
things
that plays as an after credits scene.
one of the things I find interesting whenever we shoot, I like Joe Johnston. I don't know if he was actually the right choice for this.
It makes so much. It worked better than the Thor thing.
Yes.
Certainly.
Yes.
The sensibilities he brings to it that he had in Rocketeer is perfect for this.
I don't know.
I don't know that he's the problem, except that green screen stuff, but I don't know how much of that you can pin on
Well,
him.
and the two writers on this, Marcus and McFeely, they write Winter Soldier. But it really seems like the Russos, they're real
shaped
concerned about this has to work.
Yeah.
This is, like, they're really involved in, they're not writing it, but they're really involved in this. Like, they make their writers work. Which is nice.
Silvestri's score is fine. It's not real memorable.
Mm. I was gonna say when he walks out in the one of the
I actually
things I think
immediately
is,
remember what this after credit stuff looked like.
no, this is real nice.
It reminds me of New Frontier a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
One of the things I'm not gonna say anything. One of the things I think it's fun and interesting whenever we shoot in Times Square is there's all these signs for things and it always dates a film and not in a bad way. It's like a fun
Signpost.
I forget what movie it is, but there's a movie that has Lestat. The I forget if it was a musical or play, but it's got Lestat.
Yeah.
Lestat only played for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like it's a real I know exactly when you shot this movie.
But yeah, they're not going back and putting things in.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, we have done that. I Am Legend is a popular example, but
That's got the Batman Superman movie.
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. How about a nice hot cup of freedom? I'm gonna start saying that.
With everything else you say, it won't sound that weird.
The one thing I really don't like,
Yeah, you're right.
when they pull him out of the ice, they don't show the part that they do with the animated Avengers movie. They don't show where they find him in the ice.
They do. You see them find him. Well, they find.
They find his shield. They don't see him, and then they don't show them defrosting
said that at
him,
the beginning
and then
of
he
the
wakes
movie.
up immediately. He's been out of the ice for a little bit.
Well, he doesn't wake up until there.
Yeah, but it's a book. You
Yeah.
don't need to see him being thought out.
I just
I
want the Kirby shot of him
Right.
on the block with the shield on him. But
yeah, I mean,
that's all
his
touristy stuff.
being thought out is a thing you can infer. Obviously,
Yeah.
like if I just don't know what it would have given us if we'd seen it, because it's not.
It would have given me a sense of satisfaction for seeing a Kirby panel brought to life.
Oh no, sure,
An
yeah,
iconic
but
Kirby panel.
I'm talking about like the actual thawing out.
Oh, I don't care about that.
Yeah,
I
but
just
that's what
wanted
he's
to
talking about, and I'm speaking of that. But I'm just not sure what it would have given us. And I
he clearly
think,
doesn't wake up before that moment.
yeah, and the problem is I don't think like trying to make him think that he's still in the 40s would be as effective if we've seen him being thought out.
Mm. Yeah, because the audience is completely forgotten.
Exactly. And that's why I like that opening scene being there. Like, there's nothing for us to forget if it's not there.
It's true.
And again, it just feels real traditional. I want that scene. I would like I get why you want that shot, and that's totally fair. But I mean, like at least we get somebody going to the ice.
I guess that wasn't a given either.
No, it wasn't.
That given that Captain America does get found in Avengers 4, I guess it's not a given that we wouldn't actually find Captain America in Avengers before this movie comes out, before we know anything.
Sure.
It's a lot of costume makers.
This is the best piece of music in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about a
And
nice
it's
hot
not
cup of-
by...
Sylvester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, they went to the guy who actually did a lot of the Disney songs back in the day.
Oh, that's cool.
I think.
Yeah, because it sounds just like that stuff. I mean, it's perfect. It could have been written then.
Mm.
You know what we could use right about now? A nice hot cup of Verbis.
No one knows what you're talking about. Anyway.
No.
And now, an inside joke. There was a license plate that we saw. It said Verbis. We don't know what that means. We've made it 100,000 things today. Anyway. This movie was directed by Vervis.
You know what?
Score by Alan
If
Vervis.
we're gonna have credits like this, don't do this crap where like, oh, we're gonna show you some stuff you want to see, and then we're gonna make you sit through all this text. Give me stuff while all this is happening. Entertain me while I'm sitting through your credits to get to the end after the credit scene.
Yeah, well, and that's the problem with the after credit scene thing. I don't think that's bad if there's not anything at the end.
Give me some pictures and stuff. Your comic books. Throw some panels up in the credits. Something.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I need scenes. I don't need people acting, but give me something to look at.
Yeah, because I really don't mind the animated post titles thing before you get all the names to highlight the major players. And that's a tradition that goes way back.
But just give me something.
One of my
to look
favorites is I don't know if you've ever seen Star Trek 6, but
I have not. It's on your. You maybe watch
is it
that.
one of my favorites of
5
those
and 6 are.
is 6 ends. Or when we get to before the actual credits, it's all the principals' signatures
Oh, that's cool.
because they know it's their last movie.
Yeah, because I just spend.
That's one of my favorite of those.
I just spend the credits clocking down to when I can read special thanks to.
Right.
And then I clock from special thanks to the after credits scene. I know most other people don't look at special thanks, but I like to see who they acknowledge that they took things from.
This probably sounds awful. I kind of feel like with as many names as we have these days, and especially because we will triple row them a lot of the time, and you're probably not going to have
some big special effects
make this
film.
point. I think you could start scroll them just slightly faster.
Yeah.
I don't know that they need to be this slow anymore. When you get to this block of text, you're not expecting anybody to actually look at any of it. I don't mean that it should scroll like the end of a lot of TV shows, where it's just like, but maybe a little quicker, especially if we're going to do the multiple.
Yeah, because some of the special effects films, like, it is just a wall of just names.
Yeah, because legally we have to credit them.
I'm gonna start paying attention to when the special thanks to comes. Because I don't know if it's consistent, but I want to start paying attention to what comes before it so that I know to get ready. Because I always feel like it gets to halfway to the screen, I'm like, oh, it's special thanks. Who was named? I think I actually missed the special thanks because we're writing the songs. Stark's theme. Stark's flying car.
Stark's flying car.
Soundtrack available by Walt Disney. Special thanks to Joe Simon, Jack Kirby, Mark Millar,
Sadly-
Brian Hitch, Ed Brubaker, Steve Epting. Wow, that's a real short list. You know who's not on that list?
Epting, that's interesting.
I mean, that makes sense. He's artist on Brubaker's Run.
Yeah, but how often do we credit artists
That aren't
It seems
the
like it's-
creator artists.
Yeah, that what I'm thinking is one of those suits is more Epting than it's anything. I bet that's what it is.
You know who's not credited? Englehart.
Englehart, yeah.
But I understand you can't make anything Captain America that's not based on his run.
That's right. Or Batman.
Or Batman.
Or anything he worked on. Or
Oh
Doctor
yeah, I guess
Strange.
this does play as a scene, and then we do a trailer.
Yep. I think this is cut a little differently. I think in Avengers there's an insert shot.
There's
right
a
there.
gag with
Like he
when
goes
you
and picks
see
up
all
another
the
bag.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you see all the other bags, and you see that he's broken like 6 of them.
Jason was 2 when that movie came out, and we took him to Avengers. And when the bag falls in the theater and it's real quiet, he goes, "Uh-oh!" and the whole audience just lost it.
This actually looks more kinetic and action packed than Avengers turns out to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Avengers are our next movie, right? We get to jump right into Avengers.
Not so much. Do you think we should have done more teasers like that?
No.
Like
No,
the after credit scenes?
my issue with the teaser is I have never reason to watch it again.
Well,
Because
yeah.
it's a teaser. Whereas sometimes I will watch some of the post credit scenes again because they're kind of part of the story.
And since we're used to those post-credit scenes, it is a little bit weird that it has a date like that. It's like, oh, and all of a sudden I'm watching a teaser, which is weird.
Yeah.
I don't know that it feels as worth waiting for, but at least, like, that's where they premiered it.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's one of those things like it's cool in the moment, but
yeah.
never again.
I really think if we made this now, that last scene would be a mid.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
the Times Square
Because
scene.
we do Winter Soldier, we do
It would be a
Civil War.
mid, and then we'd have the teaser at the end.
Yep.
And now we have been doing a lot of showing you a small piece of a scene that you will see in another movie.
Yes.
And I don't mind that, but that's essentially what that is, except they give you a teaser. But that's the only time we've ever done that.
Yeah.
But anyway, everybody, thanks as always for watching. Sure, appreciate it. We will see you again tomorrow for more Marvel Mania. Are we at Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance.
Spirit of Vengeance. And that will be another one that I do not know at all. I've seen it once.
I've seen it twice.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, there is another Ghost Rider. So there's gonna be a lot of us going, oh, that's right, and also what?
There's a scene that's one of my favorite Nick Cage scenes.
That's gonna be weird, and that's gonna be one of those an unusual one in that you appreciate that movie in a way I don't.
I also appreciate the movie in a way no one else does, apparently.
But like you like grindhousey things, and that is not what audiences are going for a thing like that.
But it should be. It's Ghost Rider. Like that's exactly what Aaron did when he came on that book. He's like, well, this is obviously a grindhouse book.
Might have been more okay
Nuns with guns.
But that might have been more okay if that's what we started with. We did a more mainstream movie that was
I
fairly.
believe Spirit of Vengeance are. I
Yeah,
think it is.
Yeah. So that's cool. So anyway, we'll be doing that for you tomorrow. And in the meantime, I am Captain Logan, and this is Eric.
I was Eric.
And thanks for joining us.